So let me just introduce my guest for the morning. I have Andrew Mesa. He is a legal practitioner, but also member of parliament for 2nd D, and he's here with me. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Okay, and then I'll also be joined by Roxin Dafiamakbo, who is a member of parliament, and also will be joining me very soon if he comes into the studio. But in the meantime, let's start with the subject. And we know that the EC chair appeared before the House. Were you in the House yesterday?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And it doesn't look like many of you were satisfied, especially on the majority side, with her responses to the question that was posed at the time concerning the charges to journalists of the ID cards, and also how come that line item was missing in the accounts of the EC as far as the financial report submitted.
Well, let me just say good morning to your cherished viewers, and of course to yourself. I don't think that her responses were not generally unsatisfactory.
Okay. She
indicated that these sums that were charged, two components of them. One for the lost or replacement of ID cards, which the EC charged 5 Ghana cedi per card replacement. And the other component was for the media accreditation. Of course, she indicated that these sums were lodged at a Ghana Commercial Bank account, particularly in respect to the 5 Ghana cedi, because that is an ongoing process, and there's an account that is held for the payment of that money across the country. So when the question came, they just asked for a statement from the Ghana Commercial Bank, and it ran into thousands of pages because every single payment that is made would constitute one line item on the bank statement. So what she did was to, of course, that same account was what was used for the collection of the filing fees from the presidential and parliamentary candidates. So they backed that sum out, and they got a total figure for the replacement ID cards. Now, the question really was why it did not reflect in the 2016 account that was submitted to Parliament in terms of internally generated funds. And her explanation was that it was an oversight. Of course, I'm not in a position to make a determination as to whether it was a genuine oversight or otherwise. But I believe that the questions that came were legitimate. People needed to understand why an institution such as the Electoral Commission would omit to disclose such information to the Ministry of Finance, particularly in the preparation of their accounts. It makes it even more compelling, particularly in view of the revelations that have come subsequently. So I believe that they were legitimate questions, and to the extent that excuse me, to the extent that she provided answers, of course, there's always the possibility of people not finding your answers, if you like, acceptable. But then again, some others too accepted it in hook, line, sinker, and felt that everything was okay. So that's just what happened.
But we know that the subjects or her issues have become more pronounced as a result of we know many of the things that have transpired over the last couple of days. But we would want to get some insights into what the comments have been from the members of Parliament, and we'll play some of those insights to you. And so my director will play some of those insights from Parliament while we try as much as possible to digest the concerns raised by the MPs. We have Inusa Hussaini, we also have another member of Parliament on the side of the majority, and then we'll come back into the studio to continue the discussions.
I'm not satisfied. We are talking about a statutory body charged with the conduct of our elections, and the answers she gave today were unsatisfactory. Because we are submitting a budget estimate to the Parliament of Ghana, who has an oversight responsibility for government incomes, expenditures, and revenues. And you fail to capture a very important segment, which is internally generated funds. Whereas in that same year, you've collected from Ghanaian citizens, parliamentary and presidential candidates, as well as others, right? And all these things were not captured in the budget estimate, and we've got it approved. So that's why I posed the rhetorical question to her, that now that her budget has been approved, and the Ministry of Finance is going to release funds to her outfit, how is she going to rectify that anomaly? It's a matter of great importance to our country.
So that for you, well, you don't buy the suggestion that it was an oversight. So then what happened? Someone probably wanted to, make money out of the process.
I think it was the latter part of a submission. She said that this is her personal explanation. Do you buy that? She's the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. She cannot have a personal explanation. The buck stops with her.
So you think the division in codes within the commission is what has resulted in this claimed oversight when it comes to the issue of the
palpably manifested today, that all is not well with our EC. You even saw the seating arrangement at the very beginning of proceedings, where members were urging the two of them to sit together. So all is not well with the Ghana EC.
Charlotte Osei did extremely well in view of the present developments at the Electoral Commission and the circumstances surrounding her appointment and continuous stay in office, especially the petition presented to the Chief Justice by the President of the country. She did extremely well. She was virtually in control of what she was saying.
The minority says even the fact that she indicated there was an oversight in terms of the IGF is an indication that all is not well with the commission.
The majority?
The minority. Yes, the majority. I mean, that's what they are saying.
Well, I have addressed that already. I basically think that Charlotte Osei was being the Electoral Commissioner. Indeed, she didn't come here as Charlotte Osei. She came as Electoral Commissioner. The Electoral Commissioner was being fair and candid to the best of her knowledge. Today, we are all riding on the question and giving it credibility without failing to verify its authenticity and veracity. But meanwhile, we are holding Madame, the Electoral Commissioner, accountable for saying that she speaks for herself. I believe that she was under immense pressure. She continues to soak the pressure until such a time that she snapped. Speaking for myself, answer was the lowest point in the answers.
But now the leadership is meeting her as part of efforts to resolve the internal wrangling there. What do you make of it in the light of the petition that has been forwarded to the president demanding her removal?
Well, I think that I have said it and I will say it again here. I think that it is not the work of leadership. I think it should be the work of the General Peace Council or Ghana Peace Council. That if they had taken the initiative long ago when the smoldering fire at the Electoral Commission was beginning to show, they would have been able to prevent a full-flame conflagration, or what is it? I mean, a burst of fire.
The meeting has been fixed, and we are going for the meeting.
The fact that the president this afternoon referred the issue to the Chief Justice, isn't that a game changer for all others to withdraw your hand?
If we meet as leaders, and we think that anything that we do will be prejudicial to the process that has been kick-started by the petitioners and by the president, we shall recuse ourselves.
But for now, you are going ahead with it.
We are going.
Despite the
It's
minority
a meeting, so we are going. It's very unfortunate for the chairperson of the commission to have told us that by failing to indicate IGF, the monies that the commission raised by itself in terms of replacement of ID cards and the accreditation fees that the commission took from journalists is an oversight because it did not appear in their budget. How can you fail to recognize the fact that about 3 million Ghana cedis did not appear and you say it's an oversight?
And we've been joined by Roxin Dapamokpo, and he is a member of parliament for South Dine. And thanks for joining me, Roxin.
My pleasure.
And the appearance of the EC chair and the concerns that had been raised, or how would you assess her posture alongside the other commissioners who also came in the process?
There was only one commissioner.
Oh, okay.
One deputy commissioner who accompanied her. I believe Amadou Sule also. She answered forthrightly the questions put to her. And so for me, the questions that were filed that brought her to the house, she answered them well. There were lots of follow-ups. She equally answered those ones very well. The issue regarding, you see, sometimes the media should do better, because the question was put to her in her personal capacity. Leader put a question to her that what did you discover? You, not as in plural, but you as the persona you. And she said, this was what I discovered. You couldn't be saying this was what everybody at the commission discovered.
And you're speaking in relation to the fact that she responded to the majority leader.
Yes, that
I speak for myself.
Yes, that this was what I discovered. And it's been taken out of context. Then the matter regarding the oversight. Why? The deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana came to Parliament and said that over 40 million transactions in bauxite didn't reflect in our accounts. It was an oversight. And that one, we think it's okay. Later, they brought documents to Parliament before PAC to show that indeed there were transactions in bauxite dealings. And we let the matter slip. So how is it that the commissioner will say that, well, upon the having been served with the question, I asked my director of finance to give me these details. And they did. Hold on, please. Why? They came before PAC. And I was in that meeting.
It was a public.
It was Honorable Apenyo Maki who raised that issue. Okay. So these things happen. The point I'm trying to make is that these things being, you see, the deputy governor of the bank sitting where he sits, it's not everything that will come to his attention for him to apprise Parliament of. So he was given the opportunity to go and get the information, and he indeed brought the information.
You're liking same to the
yes, and I'm saying, if the commissioner is saying the money is there, its non-reflection in the budget must have been an oversight. So why? Well, if she's given the opportunity, they can prefer information on it. Should this be
but the
a
circumstances
matter?
Are different, and they're Roxanne.
Why?
Mr. Roxanne.
It's before the same Parliament. It is before the same Parliament. And we speak of $40 million vis-a-vis 2 million or so. It is not as if she says that she has no idea. She says that the information we gave to Finance Ministry, for them to incorporate it into the budget, it has to be an oversight. If another entity says it's an oversight, it should be praised. If another one says it's an oversight, it should be condemned to high heavens. I am not saying what happened was good, but the matter is being overflogged. Apart from this incident, she answered creditably all the other questions. Why are we not assessing her overall performance? I am not sitting here holding brief, but I am saying our public officials, the topmost ones, sometimes they are let down by their subordinates. If it were the situation that the money is not available, it cannot be accounted for, I'll be the first person to call for her head. But she says the money is available. There are information on it. My brother can file another question in respect of this matter, and she will come and prefer information. I think we must deal with some other more important matters than this.
Mr. Mensah, we know that this is also beyond the question that was asked in Parliament. There's the brouhaha in which she finds herself alongside the other deputies or the deputy commissioners. And all that has been happening, a petition, and now even forwarded to the president and forwarded also to the Chief Justice based on what the Constitution says, perhaps puts the the commissioner in a certain mindset and posture as she appeared before Parliament? You thought that also may have affected perhaps the way her posture was?
Well, I think her posture was okay. I mean, I didn't find, of course, she indicated to Parliament that she was suffering from some cold, and so we should pardon her for the manner with which she spoke. But beyond that, I really, of course, I mean, if you listen to my initial comments on this matter, I do not have any issue with the responses that she gave, because, like I said, I'm not in a position to confirm whether the oversight was deliberate or not. I cannot, sitting here, make that value judgment. But I believe that, well, she was well composed, save that the visible, you know, if you like, the body language between the two of them, you know, to the extent that initially between the electoral commissioner and the deputy commissioner who was there, the bad blood was clearly visible.
Publicly?
You know. Oh yeah, of course. I mean, initially they sat apart until members called on them to, as it were, sit together. You know, Afenyo Markin was very vociferous in that regard until they sat together. Of course, I didn't see them even conferring, you know, in the entire.
There was no interaction at all.
No, not at all. Not to my knowledge. Roxanne, I'm sure, can confirm. Of course, I mean, look, the Electoral Commission issue, I've always said, should not be politicized, because it's the only institution that is supposed to be the neutral arbiter in our electoral management process. These allegations that have come up are very unfortunate, but we are where we are. The law ought to take its course. If persons feel that the woman has committed some wrongs and have filed a petition, I think that it was very, very unfortunate for her to have responded to Yoko, which response then found itself in the public domain. And within that response, made counter allegations against her two deputies. So it creates a whole set of issues in itself. I would have thought that, having become aware of the petition that has been submitted to the office of the president, she should have just indicated to Yoko that, look, to the extent that Article 146 proceedings have been initiated, and I have asked for the names of the petitioners to be made known, I would rather await the process to be exhausted before I refer to you, because clearly Yoko is an inferior body to the constitutional process. But then again, she felt that, well, because of the hue and cry in the public, she had to clear her name, and so responded to Yoko's inquiry. And you know, it's a murky situation, and I only hope that the Electoral Commission as an institution will come out of this situation as a stronger body.
And now the President has forwarded the petition to the Chief Justice appropriately based on what the Constitution says. The right way to go, would you say? Or
except to say that other petitions are outstanding, it's not being acted upon.
It's not a constitutional petition, please.
Why?
Don't play mischief with these matters.
Mesa.
What petition? You sent petition to the president to fire his finance minister.
A petition is a petition.
Is he under any obligation in law to abide or respond to that petition? Please.
Why? When I petition the office of the president, whether or not you act on the petition, you cannot answer me.
To do what?
Mesa,
it's critical that you provide proper information to our viewers. Mesa, don't do that.
Can you rein him in?
He's reining himself in.
Good. I am saying, other petitions have been sent to the office of the president. They will not be acted upon with this alacrity. Why? Who determines what is critical?
Well, the president has.
I see. We don't see it that way.
Look,
please, Mesa, please. We don't see it that way. We
You
see,
say you mean the minority?
yes, we see a selective treatment of petitions that have been sent to his office for urgent attention.
Which petitions?
Mesa, you just said those were not constitutional. They were not based on the Constitution. You decide.
So disclose the petition so we all know.
Why?
That's okay.
If you don't know, why are you speaking to the
Disclose
matter?
for the benefit of our viewers.
If you don't know, why were you speaking to
For
the
the benefit of our
If
viewers.
you don't know, Mesa, if you don't know that other petitions were sent to the office of the president,
I've been on various platforms with you where you've made suggestions that the petition that was presented in respect of the bond and boss has not been responded to.
Why did you retort that those ones were not based on the Constitution? So let us be fair. You understand? Let us be fair in these matters. It is the right way to go. Let the CJ do the needful. Let us determine whether or not there's a prima facie case that will warrant to institute an investigation into the matter, an inquiry. And if so be it, we'll all go through the process. You understand my point? So I will not fault the president for doing that, but I will fault him for not acting on other petitions that are before him. That's my point, and that has always been our point.
But if you look at the response of the commissioner, especially her 27-pointer response.
Paragraph.
Okay. And then you critically look at the contents in there.
Yeah.
She raised very serious allegations.
Indeed. Some of the matters were already a subject for an internal inquiry. Now, whilst those were ongoing, this petition had been dumped in the public domain, in cyberspace. All manner of commentaries were running on the petition. And I don't think, even if I were in her shoes, I would go quiet for me to respond to the petition anytime it is referred to the CJ. And the CJ will now put a covering, if she makes a determination of a prima facie case, then she will make a covering letter and refer the petition to her to answer. You understand my point? I don't think you have to wait till that long. Why? Even court processes now are now dumped in cyberspace. Court filings. People file processes in court. They find them. You find them in cyberspace all over the place. So I am saying that it was good that she's reacted the way she did, and she has a right to also counterclaim. When somebody makes an allegation against me and I am filing my defense, I am answering the person, and I know I have issues against the person too, I should be able to make those counterclaims, so that persons who are running commentary, who are debating the matter, can do so fairly and on its merits. And I don't think we are practitioners, he knows.
But I haven't faulted her. I only proffered my...
You can counterclaim.
You can
at all.
Yes, you can make counterclaims. And it's good that she's made those counterclaims. You will realize that the persons against whom he's made those counterclaims, her two deputies, they are also saying they are also speaking with their lawyers, and they will also respond appropriately. So it means they are also willing to file an answer. You understand me? So let us allow the process to go through the full course. Why? The judiciary suffered this a year ago. It was terrible. But we allow the processes to run the full course. And at the end of the day, we saw where the chips fell. So let us allow the EC as an institution to go through the processes. There are internal ones, there are external ones. Let us stop the debate.
Roland, you see,
let the processes run its full course, and then we'll see where the chips fall at the end of the day.
You see, it's strange how you can justify the allegations or the counter allegations that were leveled in the EC's response, when you and I don't know whether indeed the two deputy commissioners were the ones who filed the petition. Because he is saying that when somebody brings an action against you, you are entitled to counterclaim. But you can only counterclaim against the person who brought the action against you. Okay?
But you can also counterclaim on
against third parties who are not parties to the action.
Who are the petitioners?
I don't know.
Good.
But that's what I'm saying, that counterclaim, as you put it,
yes,
in context,
yes,
okay,
yes,
will only be appropriate when, in fact, we know that these two deputy commissioners are the petitioners or part of the petitioners. And so maybe, so my point is that, you know, it was completely premature, you know, for her to have made these allegations, particularly when
you are presuming
her own letter that she wrote requesting for the names had not been responded to. Good. But maybe she knows something that we both don't know. And so she's put it out there, because if you read her responses, she alleges, in a sense, that because Maxwell is acting for one of the deputy commissioners in a separate matter, it is entirely possible that the instructions that he received was from this lady and some other persons in the electoral commission. Well, it's her choice, really. I mean, I'm only saddened that these matters have come out in the public domain and they are being played out the way they are, particularly relative to the nature of the institution that we are dealing with. Same vein that the issue of the announced expose of the judiciary got us all sad that, you know, such state institutions that are vested with, entrusted with such responsibilities will go out and do the kinds of things that they did. But you see, look, I don't understand why my brothers in the NDC always want to play, if you like, mix the issues to confuse people.
What?
Wait.
You
Let me
have to withdraw that.
Let me finish.
No, you have to withdraw that.
You sit here and say that the president has acted with alacrity in respect of this petition when other petitions are pending before him.
Is that not a fact?
As if to say, no, wait. That's why I said
so
they mix the issues.
Where's the confusion?
To want to create confusion. You see?
Why? Where's the confusion?
Please let him make his point.
Is any Article 146 petition before the president? Clearly not.
Okay. So in your estimation?
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. That, you see, in
your estimation, you're saying that because it's a constitutional matter.
Absolutely.
It takes precedence over.
No, it doesn't take precedence. The president, wait, let me explain. Okay, please. The president has no choice in dealing with this matter in the manner that he has done. Now, the other petition the other petition that they are saying is before the president. If I heard them correctly in the past on several other platforms, relates to their request for the president.
Whose request?
You, the individuals within your party who sent those petitions.
I see.
Okay? Requesting the president
to send their party card.
To, as it were, ask Mr. Akufo-Addo to step aside because of the allegations that have been leveled against him for the, the bond deal. Is that a petition that is governed by the Constitution? No.
And as a result,
the other one relates. No, Roland.
It's not important.
I'm not saying it's not important.
Well, you have brought the subject up.
But wait, please. It's important. I'm not doing this for my own benefit. We have people listening to us, okay, who may think that president is being selected, is being political, and that when this electoral commissioner matter came, he's pushed it. But
very well.
If you request that he terminates the appointment of his minister, and the information before him clearly does not support the allegations that you are making, should he go ahead and terminate because you have petitioned him? No. The president is not going to act on it because they are bogus claims. They are bogus petitions before the president. This is a constitutional matter that Ghanaian citizens have invoked a constitutional provision. Okay? The president is mandated by law to act on it. constitution. So let's not mix the two petitions relating to boss. Read whatever provision and let's debate it. Let's not confuse it at all.
Okay, so you're saying that what the president did was forthright because beyond the other petitions or so-called petitions that would have been before the president, this one took precedence.
It doesn't take, but they are completely different.
Okay.
Those persons are his appointees.
Yes.
The Electoral Commission is not. Okay? The Electoral Commission is a constitutionally protected institution. The officers serving at his beck and call, at his pleasure, do not come under the same provisions. Please.
Now, Roland, if somebody files a petition before the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, making serious allegations. Oh, please. Mesa, what is your problem?
Go ahead.
Please continue.
What is your problem?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You have sat here and said you have decided to distinguish between petitions.
But there are distinctions between petitions.
A petition is a petition. Even if as a president, oh please, Mesa, please. Even if as a president, you are not minded to accede to the request of the petitioners, answer them. Oh. That's the point we are making. You understand?
You know, so their beef is that the president has responded to their petition.
Let him make his
point. I am not saying you should acknowledge receipt. I am saying the petition has been directed to your office.
Well, true.
So act on the petition.
But you don't think that this one, because of the nature of the petition...
I am not making that thinking.
The president...
I will not indulge in that thinking.
The president taking this action...
No.
It's also in the interest of the generality.
You see, there's no art of seeing the a man's thinking. There's no art of determining the construction of a man's face in his face.
Yeah, sure.
So it is by your conduct that I can determine how you think. And so we are saying that why wouldn't you act on other petitions?
Because they are bogus.
You see,
they are bogus.
You make that you have just said that discerning people are listening and viewing this program.
Completely bogus petitions.
Do you understand me? Now, this petition, who are the people that filed the petition?
Well, we're told that by the press secretary or the communication director at the president.
A petition was brought.
We now have 17 names supplied to the president.
Hold on. A
and
petition
it was
initially
on that by which the president decided to act.
Roland, a petition was brought to them. It was not signed. It was not dated.
Initially.
Yes, and then they clean it up at the presidency.
Oh, subsequently,
good.
According to the statement.
Yes.
They did the allegation that he's making.
Why shouldn't I make the allegation?
They cleaned it up at the presidency. That's his allegation.
Yes. Why wouldn't I make such an allegation?
Based on what?
Because by your conduct.
Which conduct?
Why? Why didn't they refuse the petition? Reject the petition?
Show me the provision in the Constitution that says that when the president receives a petition, he should refuse it.
The petition that you have brought, it's not dated.
Mr. Mesa, today you are charged up.
No, today I'm very charged up
because he's doing propaganda. No, he knows that.
It's not part of my retinue at all.
He can't defend what has happened. You receive a petition that is not dated, that is unsigned, and you receive it. You should have said no. The petition is not signed. It's not dated.
Do you know IDEC?
You understand?
You know IDEC?
I know IDEC.
And the civic, they have an initiative. They call the Civic Forum Initiative.
Yes.
After great consultations, the greater part of Wednesday, they made a conclusion and came out with a statement that they would think that the protagonists in all this should step aside for once the president has taken the decision for the processes to continue. What do you think?
You know,
the commissioner, the two deputies.
Yes, you know, prior to the elections, we had comments.
You mean prior to which elections?
To the 2016
general elections. Okay.
A lot of allegations were made against this same woman. She got a position because as a result of sexual favor she granted. It dominated our public space. That matter died down. The persons who made those allegations were called upon to even apologize. They refused. statements were made to the effect that in the event that they come to power, they will ensure that she's removed.
Who made that statement?
Why? My own senior colleague in Parliament made those comments. They will ensure that she's removed. So you see, when you sit down and you look at all this, it dovetails into a certain political agenda. Clearly, this thing is not happening out of
vacuum
by accident or history. No, it is carefully orchestrated.
You think this is orchestrated?
IDEC says that.
Not only IDEC, the Civic Forum Initiative.
Yes, including IDEC, including Peace Council. Suddenly, for 6 months they were quiet. Suddenly they found their voice. When the scandal hit the judiciary, and somebody said the CJ should step aside, what happened? They said no. She should not step aside. So you see, people are not fair in this country. The hypocrisy is too much.
No, but you see, Roland, you ought to ask him these questions.
Was the CJ in the tape? Is Charlotte in the tape?
But the allegations were made against her.
In the tape?
Which tape?
Is Charlotte in the tape? You are saying is CJ in the tape, and I'm asking you, Charlotte in the tape.
Was the CJ in the announced tapes?
You understand?
Let's continue.
So, people are simply not candid in this country anymore. People that we think, institutions that we think will be fair.
Okay. So, Mr. Dafema,
hold on.
You make a summary analysis of various speeches not representing any political party, and then you make conclusions that these are politically orchestrated activities against
maneuvers.
The person of the commissioner.
Indeed.
By what means?
Why? As you speak. Why is it that the person against whom a petition has been sent is named, but the people who have filed the petition, we don't know them, but we know they are lawyer only? Why?
We're told by a statement.
You were told. Why is it that the presidency cannot reveal the names of the petitioners who are acting through a lawyer? Lawyers will take instructions. Are you aware whether the instruction to my own lecturer, Maxwell Akufo-Addo, has been withdrawn or not? We don't know. So we don't know the petitioners. So nobody should think that this thing is happening as a result of an accident or history. No. It is carefully orchestrated, but it will fail.
See, Roland,
it will fail.
I am
the IDEC statement.
See, no, one moment.
The IDEC statement, please.
I was making a point when you brought in the IDEC thing.
I was saddened by.
I was linking. Hold on. You have had your time. You have spoken 3 times on this matter.
You wanted to say?
Yes, I am saying that. I am saying
no
somebody petitioned the president as a result of a petition he has filed before SHRAC against the finance minister, and says that pending the outcome of that matter, let the finance minister step aside.
Based on which law? Didn't
Dr. Anani step aside?
Based on which law?
Oh, please.
Show me the law.
Please.
Which law?
Which law says that Charlotte Osei should step aside?
But who has asked her to step aside?
Why? Are you not in favor of that?
IDEC says she should.
Which law says that Charlotte Osei, because of a petition, she should step aside?
Now, mess up. How do we speak to the subject of what the conclusions of the discussions by IDEC and the Civil Forum Initiative have been so far?
You see, it's
Charlotte Osei, who is the commissioner, and also the 2 deputies to step aside.
Clearly, by their own conduct, the responses.
What has the commissioner done wrong?
The allegations that she leveled against her 2 deputies in her own response, not written for her by the NPP or the NPP government. She herself responded to the petition, and then after she had finished all the responses, went further to make allegations against her 2 deputies. One of them has subsequently responded, and the other has indicated that he is going to consult his lawyers. Now, how that all fits into a grand scheme by the NPP to get her out beats me. You see, God is a wonderful God.
Well, how
because
does God come in? We've had a number of comments that were made.
Wait. You see,
during the electioneering, attacking the person of the chairperson of the electoral
in spite of all the unfortunate statements that were made under her watch, we won the elections under the watch of the electoral commissioner. In spite of all the allegations, we won the elections. Now, I'm happy that she responded, even though it's unfortunate, because if she hadn't responded, this is their mischievous propaganda that the NDC, that the government was behind this, would have gained currency. But because of her own responses, it's exposed the rot and the issues that is permeating at that institution. And if all the responses that are coming were written for these people to sign by the MPP and put out in the public domain, our viewers are better judges, not Roxy.
But he also has a view, just like you also do.
Oh, well, that's his view.
But let's move
on.
We have this one we have to discuss, and I guess also falls in your domain as MPs. Parliament apparently set to debate an urgent motion for the termination of the Ameripa deal, we're told, today. You're aware of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been placed on the order paper.
It's been interesting, the development the last couple of days, and we know that this is being spearheaded by Honorable Katie Hammond. Now, Mary had been a subject even at the time when the agreement itself was before Parliament, in the last Parliament. Now, the last Parliament, by consensus, passed the bill, and now we're told that there's this urgent motion in place that will ask the current Parliament to abrogate or take a relook at the agreement. How does that sit within the remit of Parliament and within law?
Now, I'm still doing my reading on parliamentary democracy and parliamentary law, but I find it very clear that you'll be asking the 7th Parliament to undo a deed done by the 6th Parliament.
To you, it is intriguing?
Yes, and I don't know how that is possible.
Why is that?
Because how can you undo a deed that has been done by another Parliament?
Well, we've had laws that have been passed by the past Parliament.
And amended. You can amend. You can amend.
Please, you have
you
to
understand.
Please, you
please.
Have. You can so you're not letting us enjoy the discussion.
You see, it's baffling. Now you are asking that, as it were, we should abrogate a contract that has been.
Are you saying that's unheard of, or to you it's just interesting?
No, it's the consequences thereof.
Okay.
Now, if you look at Article, I believe 108, the Mary deal had financial consequences.
Yeah, sure.
On the consolidated fund, I should think so, because the proceeds thereof will go into the consolidated fund. Now, and the Constitution is very clear on that. Now, Parliament shall not, unless the bill is introduced or the motion is introduced by or on behalf of the President, A, proceed upon a bill including an amendment to a bill that, in the opinion of the person presiding, makes provision for any of the following. 1I, the imposition of taxation or the alteration of taxation otherwise than by a reduction, or the imposition of a charge on the consolidated fund or other public funds of Ghana, or the alteration of any such charge otherwise than by a reduction.
How does this relate to?
Why? Do you know the implications of the Mary deal?
Yeah, it provides power. That's the implication.
That's the implication.
Yes, it's a deal struck and provides power.
And no financial implication?
Yeah, sure. There are financial implications, yes.
And that is public fund.
Yes, and you're saying that if there's an abrogation,
Why? It will have consequences under 108.
Okay, I get your point now.
On the consolidated fund.
But
is Katie Hammond doing this on behalf of the government?
But what Katie Hammond is doing is consequence.
It's a member of parliament. It's not a minister of state. It is not the finance minister who is doing this, who will tell us that he's doing so on behalf of the president. So I am only drawing attention to some of these things. And so we'll go to plenary today. We'll listen to him. We will debate the merits or the demerits of the motion. And the House will decide. But I am only saying that some of these matters, they are not as simplistic as anybody will want to view them. So if the deal is abrogated, then what happens? There's no deal. So Parliament can suddenly abrogate the deal that has been approved of by a previous Parliament. Governance cannot be that simplistic. That's all the point I'm making. Because there are legal implications.
Roxon is my friend, but unfortunately, in this particular instance, he's drawn the wrong premises and arrived at a good conclusion. How he managed to do it, I don't know. You see, this is a motion that has been tabled. Okay. And in the motion, he clearly indicated that he's requesting for Parliament to abrogate and or review this agreement because of misrepresentation. So there's a legal basis, because you and I know that representation,
no, misrepresentation,
and all those kinds of things vitiate a contract. So if in fact it is established that the Ameri deal was procured and or executed through misrepresentation, that is a valid ground.
And we're thinking that he can establish that.
You see, that is why the motion is tabled. It is moved. He provides supporting information. Then we debate it. So until then,
we have no business.
What is it that you are talking about in detail?
Mesa.
Because you see,
Mesa.
Yes, please.
On what basis, if a subject or a content or a line item or perhaps series of activities of misrepresentation may have informed the agreement by consensus agreed by the last Parliament, would be abrogated or reviewed?
Misrepresentations can be determined after the fact.
Okay.
So the fact that the agreement has been signed does not mean that you
outside the
cannot
subject
identify
of the motion
misrepresentation.
We have had the Minister of Energy compose a committee. A committee traveled as far as in-country of those who have had the agreement with. The conclusions have been made public or not, or perhaps have been leaked to the public. Now, how would that be contrary to whatever misrepresentations that the Honourable Member may be talking about?
I'm not in a position to say, because I haven't seen the Ameri report. Maybe, like you said, you have the benefit of seeing it through some leakage or some other means. I haven't seen it. But does it take away, assuming that the recommendations of the committee that was set up to review the transaction arrived at a different conclusion, that government should engage them, renegotiate? Does it take away the right of a member of Parliament who is representing his constituents and who has information relating to some misrepresentation that's what's put across for procuring this contract, from bringing this application to seek Parliament to exercise its right in dealing with or relooking at the matter? Clearly not. I do not know the reasons why Mr. K.T. Hammond filed the motion, save that because I'm a lawyer and I know the effect of an allegation of misrepresentation, when I saw it in there. I was like, what is it that this man knows? So we are all going in there this afternoon, hopefully, to listen to his arguments. And then if there is merit in it, I believe that the House would take an appropriate decision.
But you know there are consequences thereof.
Absolutely. But if they are misrepresentation, why? Fraud vitiates everything. And so what are the consequences? If, in fact, it is established that the contract was procured by some fraudulent means, it's void ab initio. So I'm not afraid of consequences. It is only when, okay, those misrepresentations are not established. And, of course, he will put it across for all of us to hear him.
And I'm told the chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee says, you, the majority, you're in full support of this motion.
Well, why not?
No. Your answer doesn't seem
misrepresentation.
Is the majority in full support? I mean, as a caucus, are you in full support of them?
You see, Roland, you are tempting me to make some
your answer. You premise your
ordinarily
answer with well. It presupposes that I'm not a psychologist, though. Presupposes that it's he may not necessarily be speaking the truth.
I think that Mr. Kitty Hammond is on terra firma. He has some information that will be interesting when it is ultimately.
And the chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee, and I believe that once is a chairman of that committee.
I'm not a member of the committee.
No, says, and I'm quoting him, says, government does not necessarily have to back the motion, since the majority is in full support of the motion. You are a member of the majority of Parliament.
I find that statement itself pretty.
The government,
it's not for the statement. It's not for interpretation. I'm saying the majority.
No, I didn't understand.
You are a member of the majority.
Yes, I'm a member of the majority.
As a caucus, are you in full support of this motion?
And I'm saying that it's only 3 or 4 hours from now. I think that Mr. Kitty Hammond is on terra firma, and
I don't know whether
we'll deal with it when the time is up.
The last few hours or the last few days, whether you've listened to Mr. Kitty Hammond on public radio and TV.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
To be very honest.
Okay. The last time I listened to him, he says a question was asked: why is it that the Minister of Energy is not the one trying to lead this before the House, and him? And he says, well, he doesn't need to consult the Minister of Energy.
He has the locus as an elected representative of the people.
Okay.
He can, like it said, it's purely legal. Once you have discovered materials that can establish elements of misrepresentation, all right, that can let you establish misrepresentation. It will be a basis for you to file a motion like this. But I doubt that. That's my point.
How difficult would it be for him to be able to get a deal like this abrogated or reviewed in Parliament?
The difficulty will be whether or not the information, the elements of the misrepresentation that he'll be relying on to move his motion, whether or not they were not available at the time the merits or the demerits of the deal was debated by the previous Parliament. If he can overcome this brick wall, then of course we can make progress. But if it can be established that it was available at the time of the debate, it was thoroughly beaten by way of discourse, then. But if he can establish that there are new discoveries, he just found these elements.
You see, Roland, let me just share something slightly with you. It's in fact the case that, condition precedents, validate a contract after it's been executed. Now, all the condition precedents were supposed to have been met within a certain time frame. It lapsed. 60 days, it lapsed. After that expiration, it was extended for another 90 days. It lapsed. Yet, we went ahead to consummate the relationship. In fact, look, let's wait.
Andrew Mercer and Andrew Ejapa Mercer is a member of parliament for Sekondi, and thanks for joining me. And then also I've had in the studio Roxanne Dakramakwa, who is a member of parliament for South Dine. And thank you, gentlemen, for passing through the studio.
It's our pleasure.
You are going to the house at 12 or 11?
Oh, I'm sure we are on our way.
Meetings,
A few meetings.
Committee meetings.
All right.
Before.
So I wish you all the best for the day.
Thank you.
All right.
You
But
too.
we have to move on. The John Evans, Atamils. Okay.
Good morning to my constituents. I hear it's still raining. The roads are bad. We are making efforts that once the rain subsides, some of the feeder roads will be reshaped, re-gravelled to make them motorable. That's the assurance I want to give them.
Okay. And which communities
South
are
Dine.
those? Oh, South Dine.
Peki, Germany, Ajebui, Abui, Todome, Chita, Kaira, Ahon, Tongochana, Godake, and Anyensu from Sanga to Chienu, those routes.
Well, in that case, let me just inform the people of Ghana that the Honorable Minister of Education is at 10 a.m. this morning going to make some very useful press statement that will disclose certain
For your constituents.
exciting news for the people of Ghana. This is for the entirety of the people of Ghana.
All right.
Free SHS
Japa.
policy.